Imagine a city of marble towers and golden plazas, gone overnight, swallowed by the sea. Real place, or the most persuasive story ever told? I'm not selling mystery. In this video, we'll read Plato's account, test the strongest suspects, Santorini, Tartessos, the Azores, and answer one clear question. Is there archaeological proof or just a powerful myth? Quick answer up front. The legend outshines the evidence. But the reason the story refuses to die tells us something important about history, power, and loss. Stay until the end. One clue flipped how scholars read Plato. Atlantis doesn't come from dusty sailors or lost maps. It starts with Plato. Two short dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. That's the whole origin story. Here are the essentials. In plain terms, Plato places Atlantis beyond the Pillars of Hercules, basically past the Strait of Gibraltar. He describes a wealthy island nation ringed by canals and concentric walls with temples, navy fleets, and riches. Plato says it tried to invade ancient Athens, and then, in one catastrophic day and night, it sank beneath the sea. Two details matter for everything that follows. First, Plato gives an extremely ancient date. He says the story goes back about 9,000 years before Solon. Second, Plato uses the tale inside a larger philosophical argument about morality, political power, and hubris. In other words, Atlantis appears inside a lesson, not a travelogue. Those two facts explain why historians split into two camps. Plato doesn't invent Atlantis out of nowhere. He says the story came from Egyptian priests. That line is the single clue that sent generations searching. Plato claims Solon, the Athenian lawgiver, heard the Atlantis account from Egyptian priests in Sais. In Plato's telling, they described an older world memory about a powerful island nation. That detail matters because Egypt kept long-lived records and oral traditions. If Plato truly relied on an Egyptian source, people reasoned maybe the story preserves a real memory, not pure invention. But there's a catch. Egyptian records are ancient and tricky. Dates, translations, and how priests told political stories all complicate whether Plato preserved literal history or recycled older myths into his argument. In practice, the Egyptian clue gave explorers a geographic anchor and a license to search everywhere: the Aegean, the Atlantic, Iberia. Santorini, also called Thera, is the single archaeological event that looks most like an Atlantis origin story. Massive eruption, cities buried. Tsunamis. It's dramatic. It's real. Archaeologists found a Bronze Age town, Akrotiri, buried but astonishingly preserved. No human bodies like Pompeii, but buildings, frescoes, and a clear layer of volcanic destruction. The eruption was huge enough to send tsunamis across the eastern Mediterranean. Coastal centers got slammed. Economies shook. That kind of shock is a plausible seed for a memory of a lost island. Evidence shows real regional disruption. Minoan sites changed. Trade routes shifted. People told stories about great disasters. Perfect ingredients for a legend. But there's a stubborn problem. Plato's timeline doesn't match. He places Atlantis thousands of years earlier than the Bronze Age eruption. Geography, not a slam dunk either. Plato's beyond the Pillars of Hercules points west, not squarely to the Aegean. People bridge the gap two ways. Assume Plato's date is symbolic or corrupted, or assume his beyond Gibraltar clue was flexible. Both moves are possible, but both are guesses, not proof. In short, Santorini gives the best archaeological match for a catastrophic island event. It explains the disaster memory part. It does not fully satisfy Plato's geography or ancient date, so it's plausible as inspiration, not a literal one-to-one match. Remember the Egyptian priests. A disaster in the Aegean could, through trade and storytelling, reach Egyptian ears, and centuries later be reshaped inside Plato's dialogues. That chain, real event, oral memory, philosophical story is exactly how many legends form. So, Santorini is the strongest real candidate, compelling, messy, plausible as inspiration, but not a smoking gun. So, what's left? Atlantis, as Plato wrote it, is almost certainly myth with a kernel of memory. A fable shaped by real disasters like Santorini, then stretched into philosophy. But the reason it endures is bigger than archaeology. Atlantis is a warning about arrogance, collapse, and how fast the sea can erase civilizations. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Atlantis was pure invention, or based on a real disaster? Drop your take in the comments. If you want more history stripped of hype, hit subscribe and check our next video.